After 55 cruises, I have a few cruise travel do's and don'ts, and they are always evolving. In fact, on our last cruise, I learned a lesson that hopefully I will never repeat. Hi there, I'm Ilana from the website lifewellcruise.com. Welcome back to my channel. Now, I wanted to share a few things with you that I think a lot of times people don't talk about, and they really have either made my cruise travels better or in some cases a little bit worse. So I am going to share those things with you so that it can improve your own cruises and that you can avoid some of my mistakes, including my most recent one. Now, before I get started, I did want to mention two things. First, this is going to be a little bit of a chatty video. I'm actually getting ready to pack for an upcoming cruise very soon, right after I film this video. And secondly, if you like this video, if you find it helpful, informative, or enjoyable in any way, then please do give this video a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's get started. Okay, so my cruise travel rule always, and you've heard me say it, and I think it is pretty common now that people know, is always fly in one day before your cruise. But honestly, if you haven't been to a cruise port before, I even suggest 2 days before, even 3 days before, but 2 days before, you want to have a good day and a half to explore that cruise port. Most of the time when you are leaving from a city, you are going to be in a world-class city that people would easily spend 2 or 3 days there. I'm talking about Amsterdam, Rome, Athens, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Vancouver, Seattle, etc. You get the idea. And I think oftentimes when people go on a cruise, they think about the cost of the cruise, their cruise ports of call, and maybe their excursions, and they don't really think about that initial embarkation day city. And of course, you can visit it on the way out as well at the end of your cruise. But in my experience, by then you're a little bit tired, you're ready to get home, and before the cruise is the time to do it. Please let me know if you do that as well, and if you agree that pre-cruise is better than post. Now, this next thing that I do really does make my cruise travels better. I come home with memories, and even more than memories, and honestly, a lot of people ask me about this. So it is shop when you are on your cruise, in particular in the cruise ports. Now, obviously, this is going to depend on the cruise port, but oftentimes people do ask me, where did you get that dress? Where did you get that purse? Where did you get those shoes? Where did you get those earrings? Where did you get that necklace? And, you know, a lot of it is going to be from Amazon or from Quince or from my local mall. But many of the pieces that people ask me about again and again, including that ruffled purse that I wear, they are actually found in many of the different cruise ports and cities that we've been in. Now, depending on where you go, you can actually research ahead of time what are some of the brands that might be cheaper where you're going. So in fact, that purse that I bought and another purse that I just bought when I was in Rome also, they are actually brands that are made in those countries. So an Italian brand, for instance, if you buy it in Italy, a Spanish brand, if you buy it in Spain, it is going to be automatically cheaper than what you could find in the US or in Canada. And I assume other countries as well, but I only know from where I live. But the other thing is you actually get, when you're in Europe, you get the VAT back. Now, the VAT is actually a tax, and if I'm not mistaken, it's about 12%. And that could really add up. So you can actually accumulate your bills. Now, there is a process. You actually have to fill in a form. And I think that we did this with Global Blue. And before you leave the airport at your last destination in Europe, you actually have to submit your form electronically or with a person that's there. I like to go to the kiosk with a person just to make sure that I'm doing it right. But every time we come back from Europe, we get hundreds of dollars back, you know, and you could even get thousands depending on how much you are purchasing for. But it's not just large purchases. I have dresses that I've purchased in Delray Beach or, you know, in the Caribbean, a swimsuit cover up. Not only do you have the item, but you actually have the memory that goes with it. And I think that that does make it pretty special. Okay, moving on to a mistake. And this is something that I realized, and honestly, it's very relevant now. We have got to stop going to the TikTok famous restaurants when we travel. I do think that like 3 years ago, the TikTok restaurants recommendations, they were pretty good, maybe even 2 years ago. Now there is so much hype. The lineups, and honestly, I don't think the quality is there many times. We did this in Rome. We actually stood in line. Yes, because once we were already in line, we just did it. But we stood in line at sort of a TikTok famous, at least a recent TikTok famous pizza restaurant. Oh my goodness. It was good pizza, but honestly, was it really worth the wait? Personally, I don't think so. And I will tell you a little secret. Frank and I actually snuck off while we were in line. My son was waiting there. We actually went and had an Aperol Spritz and a little bit of bruschetta while we were waiting because we were so hungry, with their permission, of course. And then they walked around and did the same. We tried to spread it around. But, sometimes you can find an amazing place. We found some incredible gelato when we were in Rome, but more often than not, we were at like a tourist trap. And I would say get a local recommendation, ask your concierge for a place. And honestly, if you pass by a place and it looks good, ask the people that are eating there what they think. Oh, and I did want to mention, and I guess this is particular for Europe, but it could be anywhere. It could even be like you're in Mexico and you've heard one place has like the very best tacos. If it's all over TikTok, maybe not. But anyway, if you do have recommendations, though, let us know down in the comments below so that this becomes a resource. But I did want to mention in a past video that I talked about Rome and when they're making pasta in the windows to like avoid those restaurants. I didn't mean because they're making homemade pasta. That's great. And honestly, you're going to find homemade pasta at a lot of the restaurants in Rome and in Italy. So amazing. What I really meant is the overhyped restaurants where everybody is coming and that's sort of like the big show. A lot of restaurants, they've got homemade pasta and it's being made in the back. They're just not showing you. Okay, now I have a do in just a couple of minutes and it's something that I've never done before up until my last cruise and I would definitely do it again. Makes a cruise much more comfortable. But first, we do have to talk about a trap not to get into, and those are the different scammers that are out there, including some that might surprise you. Now, one of them is actually the fake singing scam, and people don't really talk about this one, and I have to say, really, all you're doing is giving money, so if it doesn't bother you, then, give the money. But what it is, I was convinced it was a scam, but I finally saw it. It's somebody who stands with a speaker and they're singing. They seem like, wow, they have an amazing voice. And the speaker is like background music. I was sure, because I've seen it in Europe, but this was in New Orleans. I was sure that these people can't really be singing like this. And lo and behold, that's what happened. There was a problem with the speaker and the girl's voice. It was awful. It was really terrible. I guess the speaker itself or the machine kind of synthesizes the voice or something in some way to make it sound better. So, watch that. The other thing, though, is the fake waiter scam. Now, we actually got almost caught up in this. It was somebody who was standing outside of a restaurant and he actually had an apron on. So we thought he was from the restaurant and we were talking to him for a minute. Before we realized that he was asking us for money and he was asking other people for money and he actually didn't work at the restaurant. He was just wearing an apron. And then as we sat at a restaurant, we noticed him in New Orleans, like crossing the street, harassing people a little bit and just doing the same thing. So this is just something to watch for. And of course, something that could be a little bit of a bigger problem is actually anybody who's being aggressive. So watch anybody who's handing over flowers, the photo taking scam, anybody who's there that you take a photo with, they are going to want to get paid. And while that wouldn't be a problem in itself, there are cases of people who say they were trying to give $5 or $10 and that these scammers actually wanted as much as $50. So you just don't want to get into any of that. Don't take for granted your time on the cruise ship, especially if you're in a cruise port of call. Now, you could go and visit that cruise port and I think you definitely should. But one thing that I think sometimes people make the mistake of is thinking that from the time the cruise ship docks until the very last moment that that cruise ship is in port, you've got to be off the ship and you've got to be visiting and you've got to be tiring yourself out. Now, you could definitely do that. If there is a destination you really want to see, you should do it. But don't feel bad about spending time on the cruise ship and enjoying it. Now, on our last cruise, there was one day we visited in the morning time and we came back somewhere in the early afternoon. Something we actually realized is we're probably taking for granted when you're on a cruise ship, you're actually quite high up, and the views that you have of that destination, of that cruise port of call, and you're getting that vantage point from the sea looking out, you have the view of an incredible resort. Imagine how much we would all pay for that view. So that is something that from now on, I'm not taking for granted in Alaska, in Bermuda, in the Mediterranean. I always do a little bit, but I'm going to really appreciate sometimes staying on the ship and staring at that view while enjoying my amazing resort at sea. Do consider taking a private transfer. Now, on our last cruise, this is the first time that we ever did it, and this was in Rome, and the cruise port, I have to say, is a good hour and 15 minutes away from Rome. And there are different ways that you could do this. You could take a train, you could take a transfer through the cruise line, which a lot of people do. And we've done before, leaving the cruise ship in the port of Civitavecchia, getting to the center of Rome. And then from the center of Rome, we had to take a taxi or an Uber to our hotel. So you have to think that that all really does add up. But we actually took a private transfer. It was the most relaxing thing. Now, we were 4 people. And when I priced it out, the price of the transfers, if we were 4 people on a coach bus through the cruise line, and a private transfer with a company, it was actually less with a private transfer from our hotel with a company. And if we were 2 people, we might have paid a little bit more, but it was close to breaking even once you add that taxi. So I do think from now on, I'm actually going to look into this, especially if I have a long way from hotel to port. Now, these are just a few of my cruise travel do's and don'ts that actually help to improve my time on a cruise, but I'd love to hear from you. What are some of your cruise travel do's and don'ts? And do you agree or disagree with mine? Now, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Bye for now and happy cruising.